Hi there, welcome to Real Life on the Homestead in Ontario. And yes, this is the much anticipated part 3 of your apple cider vinegar. It's now been 4 months, so I wanted to give you an update, show you everything in person, and go one step further and show you the acidity level of our vinegar. Now, if you've been watching our videos recently, you know that we're in for a lot of snow. Since my soup Saturday, which was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so 4 days ago, we have had approximately 100 centimeters of snow. That's a meter, that's a lot. And I'm in the house doing a lot of the things that I normally do when I can't get out. And I'm going to start off very simply by explaining how I test my vinegar. I have these universal indicator pH papers. They have, that was my coffee maker going off. They have the indicators from 1 to 14 on the pH level. This is litmus paper. So never ever deal with this with wet hands. You will ruin the whole batch. And then when you're not using them, keep them in a dry, dark place. So what I do is, even when I'm dealing with this, I place it back in my zipper bag. I've taken out 4 strips because that's what we're going to test, 4 different items. And then when I'm testing it, I'm actually doing it through the Ziploc so that I don't get anything wet. Now, what you're testing with the pH strip is the pH level, not the acidity. And if you Google what pH is for a certain percentage of acidity, you'll find that. And what I found is to have a 5% acidity, you need to be between 2.5 and 3 on the pH scale. So we want 5% or higher in acidity to be able to use our vinegar for canning. And of course, we want to use this vinegar for everything because it's using a product that we have for a purpose that we need. So I always find that I get a minimum of 5. The longer the vinegar sits, the more acidic it gets. And I've gone up to about, I would say, a 7, which is, if you buy the special Allen's pickling vinegar, it says 7 on the bottle. Everything else seems to say 5. So if I can hit a 5, I know I'm good. So I'm going to show you how this works. This is a white plate, and the reason I'm using the white plate is just to try to see if I can capture this on camera. I hope I can. I have a strip. There we go. I'm going to take a drop of tap water. Our tap water is out of the well. So it's going to be hard for you to see, but you're going to have to trust me a little bit because I'm doing this to help you, not to trick you. So I have my litmus paper and I'm comparing it to the scale. And I am at a pH of between 6 and 7, and 7 being neutral. So my water is just a little acidic on the pH scale, which 7 would be neutral. So I am going to always dry my plate before doing the next item. Let's do some just plain Allen's vinegar. I actually went to buy this just to do this video because I want to be able to give you the most honest comparison. So I'm going to just take that. And my pH scale, I'm actually going to dip it. Usually you're supposed to put it halfway through the strip. But this way, you see that color? Okay, we're going to compare it on our scale. And I'm going to tell you what I could find the closest. It is, I would say, between a 2 and a 3 on the scale, which between a 2 and a 3 is about 5%. I'm gonna just close that up. This is a 5% vinegar. So the strips are accurate. That's what we want. We want to make sure that our strips are accurate and our information is accurate between pH and acidity. This is my Mother Earth organic apple cider vinegar that I get at Costco. I have it in the house as a supply for backups. So let's get a new strip. Did I clean this off to make sure it's not wet? I don't think I did. So let's make sure that we have an honest indicator. I'm going to put this in the cap because this is right at the bottom. So I'm going to put a dab on the strip. And again, take our little indicator, pick up our strip. And again, it looks like it's between a 2 and a 3 on the scale. I don't know how well this is coming out on the camera. I'm doing my best, guys. Yeah, between a 2 and a 3. Now, what does Mother Earth say that we have? Yes, the bottle also says 5%. Now, let's address the Bragg's issue that I had a gazillion comments on my part 1 of our apple cider vinegar. Yes, I know Bragg's has been bought out. It is no longer the same. I had a bottle that was about 7 years old in the house, and I was just using it as a comparison to what we were trying to accomplish. Absolutely, make your own apple cider vinegar if you want to control what's in it, how it's done, and the ethical things behind the products you use. So we're not doing the Bragg's. It was just an example for people to see. Always make your own if you can. So this here is one of the bottles that we had from our batch that we did 4 months ago. I did this with you. I did part 2 with you. So this is a continuation on. Somebody had made a comment that you don't get a mother in vinegar. Well, I beg to differ. Because remember, I put a little piece of a previous Mother SCOBY in there. You see it floating in there? I'm trying to get a good angle on it. It's floating towards me. There it is. You see it? Okay. Remember, I put plastic over it because I don't want my lids to corrode. Opening it for the first time, my hands are super clean. Right at the top, there you go, friends. This is a brand new mother. It just fell. Brand new mother, just made from this batch. It will create a mother. It's like a kombucha SCOBY on the top of your product. Now, what I like to do with this is I like to put a little bit of this in each bottle and just let it continue to acidify. So now I'm gonna clean the plate again so it's super dry. Brand new test strip. A little bit of the vinegar. Look at that, guys. It's between a 2 and a 3, just like the others. See that? Just to show that we can accomplish a 5%, which means it's good for pickling. So many people say it's good to have apple cider vinegar that you made at home, but it's not good to can with it. I beg to differ. And remember, do your own research. This is my experience and what I've done for years, and I see that it works. I pickle with this vinegar all the time. I curdle my cheese with this vinegar. So obviously it's got the acidity that it needs to do these things. Now, again, this is the one we just did. I'm gonna put it on the plate. So watch me so I'm not pulling tricks. This is the one we just did. This was the Allens, and this was the Mother Earth, and they're starting to dry out a little. They are all the same color, which means I've hit the 5%. I'm hoping I can get this really good in there. No lies here, friends. This is to show you that you can do it. You can make your apple cider vinegar and it is perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bottle this, cap it, and I'm going to keep it in the cold room. I'm just going to transfer glasses here. That giant mother piece that I put, and I don't want that sediment on the bottom. So I'm going to just keep a little bit of it. But you see that? I'm not going to take that in. But I am going to keep that little SCOBY that formed because I want that to stay in and it continues to help it acidify further. Now, this will go on in bottles. I just use old wine bottles and cap it off, label it with the date so you know how old your vinegar is. Test it, 6 months, a year from now. See if you've hit that 7% if you're looking for that. Now, when I cap it off, I make sure that I am not using corrosive lids. If it's a bottle, what I do is I put a little saran wrap on before I put the cap. That was our apple cider vinegar finale. Make sure you make these, honestly. And just another thought. People have asked about the seeds. If you're not cutting into the seeds, you have no concerns. If you're really uncomfortable about having the cores with the seeds, then remove the seeds. If it makes you uncomfortable, do what makes you comfortable. Remember, anything you do from canning, Rebel canning, just make sure that what you're doing you feel comfortable with, safe with. I've done this for years, so I know that throwing in the seeds is not going to hurt anybody. If you're chopping up the seeds, let's say I put the apples through a grinder and the seeds got ground, then I'd be concerned. But from just chopping my apples, maybe cutting 1 or 2 seeds along the way, no concern. If you want, you could just do it as apple scraps and never use the core. Just use your peels as you're peeling apples. Same thing. Now, to let you I can't get my words, sorry. If you freeze your apples along the way, like your apple scraps, and you're going to make vinegar now with all the scraps you have in the freezer, make sure to throw in some fresh apples. You need that pectin and the fresh apple to help it along. The scraps are great frozen, but there's something that makes it work better if you throw in some fresh. So keep that in mind. Another thing that we did when we did our apple cider vinegar is we did that apple brandy. And people have been reaching out on comments and messages to me about, when is it ready? Does this look normal? I had a comment just a couple of days ago from Linda. Hi, Linda. About hers is bubbling or fermenting. Is that okay? It shouldn't really, at this 4-month stage, be bubbling or fermenting. So if it is, move it into a cooler place. Remember, it should be in a cool, dark place. Let it do its thing. The apple brandy or apple liqueur, some people don't like me calling it brandy. It's just basically a breakdown of the apples mixing with the sugar and the raisins. And it will take time. It's only been 4 months. I always keep it at least 6 months to a year for myself. But I pulled mine out just to show you. And it is really tempting to get in there. But if you leave it alone, it's better not to introduce air. Remember, we have plastic wrap and then a hard plastic bag and an elastic to keep it tight. If I lift it up just slightly, which I'm introducing air and I really shouldn't be, it smells very alcoholic. So it's working. Now, these apples, as they decompose, you can see them starting to brown at the top. But as they decompose, they will get lower and lower and look uglier and uglier. I'm gonna try to lift this closer. This is only 4 months, but at the bottom, that is starting to float the apples. That is liquor. It takes time. This is not something you rush. I always say that when I make apples in apple season, it's going to be an Easter treat. So we're looking at least 6 months. The longer you keep this, the better. I really wish I could show you the section where the liquid is so beautiful. But this is our apple brandy, and it will take time. It's a treat. You're definitely not doing this for quantity. To do this as gifts, you would need to do like basically 5-gallon pails of apples and keep those, like a food grade pail, and keep those to make sure that you have enough to share. Like I said, it's a treat. It's definitely not something that that you're going to get a huge quantity. But I tell you, as a homesteader, alcohol has always been known as a great bartering item. So if you do have bottles of this and you needed to barter with somebody, you can make little bottles for bartering little things, and you can make bigger bottles for bartering bigger things. Prohibition, people used to barter with alcohol all the time. But anyway, that's it for today on this snowy day. I'm glad you joined me for this final episode of our apple cider vinegar. Please like, subscribe, and most of all, keep sharing our videos. You're really helping our channel. And the more you help our channel, the more time I can commit to doing this. All I'm doing is sharing my experiences so that you can learn from my mistakes and you can learn from my successes. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, and go live your best life.